It was a single machine, and it was all the same thing. But now if you do a join and if it's across different machines, all that you have to think about anyway, even if you're using SQL thing. So it's a leaky abstraction. So we have gone one level down and made it all explicit.
It's a database with a lowermost API.
Yeah, for me, I've been using SQL for the past 2 years, and so I think SQL, I basically like the structure of how we can structure the data using the SQL, basically MySQL. So we can structure the data as tables, and so I find it even easier to learn. So even for a beginners kind of thing, it will be easy for beginners to learn the SQL. Whereas noSql is like, it is structureless, so it doesn't have any kind of definite structure, and like you said, it doesn't have a proper schema. So beginners it might be a bit difficult to understand a data without a structure, because basically if a data has a structure, then it will be easy to manipulate it in any way we want. So I'd say noSql is like a structureless data.
I can say noSQL as storing objects or whatever the program memory in the as it is, and retrieve back without converting it to a primary type. It will be very suitable for that purpose, and it is also suitable for distributed and scalable environment.
I felt that the SQL has lived its age. The innovation around SQL to solve enterprise-related volumes sort of have happened, and noSQL is a new age database to solve web scale volumes of data. Especially when you do web scale, then you again go into distributed computing. So noSQL sort of solves you this problem. Eventually, I think looks like companies like Citrus Leaf, they're also going to support SQL. So maybe databases will go through a new evolution, just like how application servers came into existence. So you'll probably get a new set of database technologies with noSQL, or other database products with noSQL.
So I'm just keep thinking like, I'm just keep thinking, why this noSQL has come at all? Why we were going towards noSQL all this time? We were, I don't know. Some people are complaining, but at least I am comfortable with RDBMS even today. So as Suresh is pointing out, the kind of business model which we are dealing with, or the kind of application we are trying to develop in these days, are the targeted audience we are trying to address. That is what forcing us to look through why RDBMS is not sufficient enough to satisfy such a bigger audience. And I don't say noSQL is altogether a new innovation. Rather, I would see that as corrections or improvised model of RDBMS. In RDBMS, whatever attributes which is not helping you to scale or serve you better in the bigger audience, that has been corrected in noSQL, and I don't think noSQL will also fit into every other scenario. It is just for the people who just focus on availability and things like that. RDBMS still survive, and noSQL also will have its own space. I think going forward, one hybrid version would come that satisfy everybody else. Probably.
Another interesting definition, right? NoSQL is an improvised RDBMS which removes the features that will make it scale more.
Most of them said whatever I thought so far about noSQL. So
That's what is the disadvantage of talking at the end.
Yeah. So it's about the bigness of data we are getting these days. Okay, it's only during these days like we are getting applications like Facebook, Orkut, MySpace, or whatever. Okay, earlier we didn't have things like this, so there was no need for something like noSQL, something schemaless, or something now which can handle huge amount of data with write intensive process, something like that. So it's noSQL is again about schemaless things, like handling big data. Bigness of data probably, and that's all. So.
It's the solution to the new problem, which is bigness of data.
From my point of view, noSQL is a basic core DB without any abstractions like joins, functions, etc., which is basically built for scalability. if you do more of abstraction, we'll lose scalability. Simple. Do abstraction, lose scalability. Don't do abstraction, get scalability. It's my point of view of noSQL.
My way of understanding is SQL is a way to query the relational data, whereas noSQL is to query the object data, whereas you can store the data as an object itself and query. So how do you query? Through noSQL. So that's what my understanding is.
So this is my first session about noSQL. So what I learned from, like, if you don't mind about data integrity or data redundancy, data duplication, don't mind about storage at all. I want only performance. I want to get quick data. If you are targeting social users, then go for noSQL. Like traditional application like banking or other kind of applications, say user, they are okay for a delay like 2 or 3 seconds. I want data integrity. I want like somewhat like trustable data. Then go SQL. That is what I got it from this.
I'm the last here. Anyway, I have 2 points. First thing is designed for scalability. RDBMS obviously you can't scale, but noSQL is designed for scalability, so you don't have to do anything in addition to using the database to make it scalable. The second point, you have special purpose NoSQL databases for special needs. If you want to store documents, you have document databases, and if you want to store a graph-like structure, you have graph databases. Unlike using a single database to solve all the different needs, you have different databases for different needs.
I think all of the definitions were told, and I don't know what to say. But according to me, this cloud has, triggered up this NoSQL, very much. Maybe people would have faced this problem of scalability in the RDBMS era, but this cloud has energized it and then triggered it. Okay, you go ahead and distribute your database, do sharding, whatever you want, and redundantly store data. You don't have a problem of storage, and that booms up and says, yes, I'm NoSQL. It's just to eradicate the problems that they have faced in the RDBMS era.
So it's about no workarounds, built for scale right from the database.
All the points are already taken, and I'm going to agree with what Suresh was saying. And in my own words, NoSQL is all about the latest computing trend, computing persistent solution for the web scale era. So that's what I would like to conclude NoSQL as.
Just to summarize, this is the best definition I've heard so far in any of the NoSQL talk. It simply proves how collective knowledge just beats every expert talk that we have been hearing so long, right? So just to summarize, if I miss something, please let me know, right? Balaji's definition, which is about RDBMS was built in a certain era, which was non-distributed, right? Once distributed era came in, how do we change the architecture of data storage is all about NoSQL. Similarly, the raw database, which allows you to have fine-grained access to databases, which can be used for a special purpose, the need that we have today, which is to do with scalability for web scale era, or to do with storing non-traditional data types like videos, voices, pictures, and so on, right? These are needs that you need to directly access raw database. That's one way of looking at a NoSQL database. Some other definition which was very interesting.